Welcome back here to our Racing WA TV audience on 7+, back here at Kalgoorlie for the lucky last. These horses aren't quite in the mounting yard yet, Matt, but I know that this is your best bet coming up in Just Sublime, so you've got an opportunity here live to camera to sell us on why on a Sunday afternoon we should be investing on this mare.
Look, Just Sublime, we've had to be patient here today, but she's such a lightly raced 3-year-old. I think this is only her first start. It was a big run to win, I thought, her maiden 2 starts back. And then last start, I think she just got caught back too far. She really hit the line very strongly on that race. I think it's a form reference race that we've been able to hold up. And today, Tash Faithful drawn barrier 5. I think she's going to be parking all over this speed, and she'll be presenting on straightening. It'll be very hard to hold out.
Rare areas, though, here at Kalgoorlie. We are 6 races in. We haven't seen a winner trained by Peter Fernie just yet. That would be a bit of history in recent seasons. He's been on fire.
Nor Lucy, if I can recall as well. So it'll be interesting. We do have a Lucy and Peter Fernie combination as well on Just Terms, who I map as your likely leader here. So it's going to be, I think, the battle of Tash and Lucy in the straight for mine on board both Peter Fernie's horses. And we also then go to Port Hedland after this as well for my best as well. So we in Royal Zell. So it's going to be a busy little period we've got ahead of ourselves.
Well, Royal Zell was a very impressive winner at the opening meeting at Port Hedland, and Tom Pike looking to go and take out the last. But these horses have made their way into the mounting yard at the KBRC for the lucky last. So we'll start our preview here with horse number 1. And Matt, this track, it must be said, has played beautifully this afternoon. So you can win from anywhere, which is a natural bonus for all these horses. And Keep a Knockin' is the first horse. Helen Harding looking for her second winner on the program, as is Zephyr Johnston Porter.
He certainly is. And this galloper was able to pop up at some nice odds last start over the 1400 metres. Zephyr Rotor gave it an absolute peach, barrier 11, and he was just able to sit off the speed and just get over the top of Bonnie Rock, who isn't a bad little horse for this area as well. I will say, though, 3 starts back, was able to run second here as well behind Queen's Sacrifice, and we've just seen Queen's Sacrifice come out and win. So the areas that Keep a Knocking's been playing in has certainly been holding up, and she'll be going in my top 4 today.
Well, then we move to our next galloper here for preview, which of course is going to be number 3 with the late scratching of our Shillelagh. So it's Hand Me Down, first start for the new stable, now trained locally by Ash Grace. Kesh will do run to ride.
Real unknown here with me with Hand Me Down. As you've mentioned, first up here in the state for Hand Me Down. Kesh Duran goes on board. Kesh is on the board here today. Barrier 4, and has shown some gate speed previously when racing over east at Moonee Valley, and also at Moonee Valley, sorry. So I think Kesh will probably move forward on it, but I'm just not really sure where this gallop is at. And based on its racing profile, I think it will probably get over a little bit further as well.
This is now a good and proper plunge. Just Sublime opened up $4, is now $1.85, and there are only 3 cents of deductions. So this is a very good go. She's a Justify filly, Peter Fernie and Tash Faithful.
Not surprised if I was to sum this up in 2 words, this market go here, Scott. I thought it was a riding on the wall first up run when she was just beaten by Ultimate Paradise. She then put them to the sword second up, and then last start, as I've mentioned, with Ava Katerina on board, just lost a little bit of length out of the gates, and then just had to shift really abruptly in the last few strides in that race. Was not able to run down Dublin Red and Science Degree, but we've seen both of those gallopers run here well today. I think it's excellent placement here by Peter Fernie from the nice gate. I think Tash can just settle midfield, and on straightening, I think she's going to be very hard to pull back.
Number 5, Military Action, Justin Robbins, Ava Caterino.
Does run a really nice race, Military Action. We saw that 3 starts back when Ava was able to get it to the front and just pull off that victory in the last few strides. She does settle back in her races, and we've seen, as you mentioned today, you can make ground up on this track. So that's what you want to see for this galloper. We know he's got an electric turn of foot when he's got room. That's the problem with his racing pattern. He does seem to find trouble, but if Ava can pull the right rein today, and from barrier 10, I just imagine she'll let the pace go out and hit the middle of the part of the track.
This is the other filly trained by Peter Fernie, ridden by Lucy Fiore. It's number 6 on Just Terms.
And I'm mapped to be your probable leader in this race as well. Was able to lead them up last start in that keep a knocking race, and was just running down at the very end part of that race. Was able to win its maiden here 3 starts ago nicely with Tash Faithful on board that day, and Lucy going into the saddle today is certainly not a negative. But as you can see with this market fluctuations, it has been a drifter in the market.
Next horse, also trained by Peter Fernie, is Style Diva. Troy Turner rides.
first up here for the Peter Fernie, and obviously Troy Turner goes on. I didn't mind its run first up last campaign over the 1,300 metres when it had to race wide for the majority part of that race and hit the line nicely. We saw it trial here 4 weeks ago now at Kalgoorlie and was able to finish in behind Wanna Cracker, and they called me Elvin. And I thought the Wanna Cracker race two races ago was full of merit. So I think there's some form around this.
Number 8, El Sueno, and Natika Riordan takes off 4 kilos, so it's 52 on his back.
Will definitely need the weight relief, and with that gets 5 kilos off its last start. It finished 11th of 11th last start behind Keep a Knocking, but we have to keep in mind it was working hard throughout with no 3 wide throughout the race. And the start before, again, it didn't have much luck as well. It was slow to step and then was wide throughout in running as well. So for Natika Riordan's sake, I hope she's able to just get out of the gates a little bit quicker here, hold a position, and really utilise that 52 that she's got today.
Now, for anyone that didn't hear Brett Drury's post-race interview earlier on, he tipped us into Mariah in the last, who's now a $23 chance. Vicky Corver rides.
I certainly don't have her in my first 4, but when you go back through the form, you can see didn't have too much luck in running at the very back end of that Keep a Knocking race. So quite a few of these are running against each other again. 2 lengths off that galloper, and would probably say that if it had clear room in running, it could get a little bit closer. So you can see why there's probably a bit of a market discrepancy. From barrier 11, though, it would have to show a very good turn of foot for Vicky Corver to be able to come from probably last, which is where I've mapped Mariah here. But if she can get the right run, then all good. There'll be a very good effort.
There's only 1 minute till post time, so I'll get you to put the foot down here, Matty. Number 10, the Candy Kid, Paul Tapper, Scott Giddos.
No worries at all. The Candy Kid can roll forward, but has just been getting beaten by those 3 to 4 length margins so far.
Number 11, Call Time, Brandon Fiore, Lisa Staples.
Barrier 12 here, Call Time, just makes it really hard to map and understand where it will get to.
And Hush Now for Chris Nickel and Paul Tapper.
Again, barrier 13. They haven't been kind to the gates for some of these Tapper runners here today. We'll probably get back, and I just can't see it coming over the top of the likes of Just Sublime.
Story of the market is Just Sublime. $3.90, hit $4, now into $2.10. The quote just before start time. $4.80 out to $7.50 on Just Terms. 17 into 9 for Keep a Knockin' to go back to back. 9 into $8.50 Style Diva. 6 out to 10 for Military Action. 21 into 13 for Call Time, and then $14 and above the remainder. First 4 here, Matthew, in the last.
4, 6, 1 and 5 for myself for the first 4 in the last. I've put Just Sublime on top. I like the lightly raced filly. She was a big run last start to get as close as she did. She's going to hit the line really strongly here. Tash on, good gate. I can see why there's big market support. And just with a little fluctuations at late, we can get black odds here, just over $2, so I'll be taking that. 6 in on Just Terms. I think it's going to be your likely leader for quite a way here. 1 in Keep a Knocking. Was able to bob up at a price last start when Zephyr gave it an absolute peach, and he's already got 1 home at odds here today, so I put 1 in for 3rd. And 5, Military Action. Well, just gets a long way back in his races, but he really can unleash a good turn of foot if able to. I've gone 4, 6, 1 and 5 as the gallopers are still just milling around the back of the gates.
4, 6, 1 and 5. I can see Hand Me Down joining the line, and then next we've got runners making the line nicely here. So I was just having a look across at Port Hedland to see the timing difference. Still 14 minutes till the last at Port Hedland, so plenty of time there. We'll get the interviews done here at Kalgoorlie, then we'll get a full preview of the last out of Port Hedland. Matt's numbers are 4, 6, 1 and 5. Here's Matt McDermott for the last time out of the KBRC.
Thank you, Scott. They're about to start loading final leg of the quaddie. This is the Snap Printing Solutions Kalgoorlie Handicap. And Just Sublime is the first one in. Military Action, the Candy Kid, Style Diva and the White Cap. Keep a Knockin' about to move up. El Sueno awaits its turn with Call Time. Mariah, Hush Now, and down toward the end of the chute is On Just Terms. In some cracking finishes today. Long neck in the 2nd, a neck in the 4th, long neck in the 5th, long head in the 6th. Tash Faithful has ridden 2 winners and run 2nd another 3. And holds the reins to the favourite, Just Sublime, at 245. Coming in now, Call Time, El Sueno. Thanks, Stu. Hush Now is about to come forward, and On Just Terms will be the last one. Final race of 7 today. On Just Terms, about to move up. Lucy Fiore for Peter Fernie. Starter heading around. And Just Sublime. Open 390 into 245. On Just Terms, moves up. Late scratching of 2. All set. And away they go now. And they left beautifully too with On Just Terms at the end of 50. Joined by Call Time, and they pair off. El Sueno moving up on the inside. Just Sublime is about 4th from next Hand Me Down. They were followed by the Candy Kid and Hush Now. Further back, Style Diva on the inside. Keep a Knock It, Military Action drifting back second last, and Mariah whips them in as they run on past the 1,000 metres, and On Just Terms leads. 3/4 Call Time. El Sueno on the inside, 1.5 to Just Sublime 4th. Hand Me Down with the Candy Kid. A length further back then in the second half of the field is Keep a Knockin', 1.5 to Hush Now with Style Diva. Mariah and Military Action is the last one as they swing down the side with 600 to go, and it's On Just Terms leading a length now to Call Time. El Sueno on the inside, and 4th is the favourite Just Sublime. Close and handy. A length further back then to Hand Me Down on the inside of Keep a Knockin'. The Candy Kid wider out. Military Action starts a move very deep from the back. Then Hush Now, Mariah. And over on the inside at the tail of the field is Style Diva. On Just Terms are cornered for home. Got away to lead by 2 into second. El Sueno from Call Time. Just Sublime, Hand Me Down into the clear. Style Diva saves ground. Out further, Keep a Knockin', but down at the 100. On Just Terms is clear for Fiore. And On Just Terms leads all the way. Has beaten El Sueno. Just Sublime. 4th is either Hand Me Down or Keep a Knockin' from the Candy Kid, Military Action, Mariah. Style Diva over on the inside. Call Time had tied. Finished back second to last. And Hush Now, the last one. So an all-the-way win to On Just Terms. Saluting in the final race of the day, Lucy Fiore for trainer Peter Fernie. Kick clear rounding for home. And has held a break on them for a nice cosy victory. She's a filly of 3, Bay in Colour by All American out of Our Cheerleader, and On Just Terms is raced by Gazelle Park Stud and prepared by Peter Fernie and ridden by Lucy Fiore. She's won 2 of her last 4, a victory back in mid-April, and today jumped to the front and has come clear over El Sueno and Just Sublime, and a photo for 4th, and that's between Keep a Knockin' and Hand Me Down. Runner-up El Sueno was in behind them, got into the clear, but no match for On Just Terms in that final 100. Natika Rawdon for Brett Drury, and he's a 6-year-old. 6, 8, 4, 3 are the interim numbers. 6, 8, 4 and 3. On Just Terms from El Sueno and Just Sublime. 2 1/4, 1 1/4 the margin. And 125-25 as Judge Mado calls it a day. 6, 8, 4 and 3. 2 1/4, 1 1/4, 125-25. And On Just Terms over El Sueno. And Just Sublime, Hand Me Down has finished in 4th there in the last, the Snap Printing Solutions Kalgoorlie Handicap. Later otherwise to tidy up the day. On Just Terms returning back here. We'll go down to the mounting enclosure now and join Scott.
Thank you, Matt. 6, 8, 4 and 3. And for the first time today, Peter Fernie's on the board as well as Lucy Fiore. Pete, talk to us about this filly. She's had a nice little season so far.
Yeah, she is. Well, today was testing time. She was going to go online if she didn't go well today, but Braden thought that she should have won last start, so she's gone quite well today. Didn't go hard enough last start. So
Lucy jumps aboard today, rolls along at a nice genuine tempo, and that seems to be the difference.
Yeah, she rode her a treat. She's very hard to beat when she gets the front, Lucy, and I was starting to worry. It's the first time you've been here and I hadn't had a winner. You're the greatest mock of all.
So. Plane almost didn't come on that bad.
Yeah, I know.
How many have you got here at the moment? Obviously, we get to this stage of the year. It was strange scenes earlier on. You didn't have a single maiden in.
Yeah, I still haven't got many. I've only got a couple, so they'll be all right when they come along. So hopefully I've only got about 26 here at the moment or something. So
how's that shoulder going?
Like you, Scotty, very slow.
Congratulations, mate. Well done.
Thanks, mate.
There is Peter Fernie. Lucy Fiore's all smiles, and the last brings home On Just Terms, the 3-year-old All-American filly makes it win 2 at start number 9, and she leads all the way. Maddie French and is too sharp for them. El Sueno battled on into second ahead of Just Sublime, our beaten favourite, and Hand Me Down. Handy WA debut too for Ash Grace, considering that he's a mile maiden winner and raced over 2,000 metres at Seymour one day. So they can have some fun with him as they step him out over a bit more ground later on in the year. But the Class 2, the Snap Printing Solutions Kalgoorlie Handicap, is taken out by On Just Terms. Lucy Fiore joining Matt French.
Pedal to the metal, and that was the last they saw. Lucy, you just seemed to rate it out nicely in front. Really strong tempo there. Peter was just saying he wanted you to set.
Yeah, Peter just said don't go too slow, just let us do our own thing. And yeah, lucky he had said that because it was a little bit faster than I would have liked, but in the end it paid off, and yeah, let down super.
Let down super, and didn't seem to be stopping on the line either. It seemed like he was really accelerating.
Yeah, he was. It was really good.
Quick word, Category 3 tomorrow. If we move our way day to the WA Day Cup, bit of a chance there for the same combination and the same colours, I believe.
Yeah, it was a really good run the other day. It was really sticky. Had just drawn a bit awkward, and I was back and had to round the whole field, and it was actually a really good run. Like I said, cover a lot of ground, didn't get a lot of favours, but if we can get a better run, it'll probably go close.
Congratulations and good luck.
Thank you.
There's Lucy Fiore, takes out the last here at Kalgoorlie. 6, 8, 4 and 3. That horse tomorrow, Category 3 in the WA Day Cup at Northam, is an $18 chance. Lucy teaming up there with Peter Fernie and Geisel Park again. But the numbers are 6, 8, 4 and 3. Matt, what we're going to do is we're going to just roll straight on into Port Hedland, because why not? These horses are parading around ahead of the RGR Road Haulage Handicap over the 1,200 metres. And the first horse to preview is Matt's best up at Port Hedland too, in Royal Zell, Tom Pike and Rosie Marnie. This is a 6-year-old son of Schnitzel who one day raced against Animo in a Group 1 and is now racing up there on the dirt at Port Hedland. Quite an incredible story.
That is an incredible story, and hopefully it can just go a little bit better than my current best bet here at Kalgoorlie, but we've done all right up at Port Hedland today. Rosie's been able to kick one through for us, and hopefully we can make it a double here for her. The money came for him last start at Hedland, and it was spot on. He was fast, he led them throughout, and he gave nothing else a chance. I don't mind the step back to 1,200 metres just with that little bit of extra weight that he has to carry. I like the map here as well, with only Shooting Kentucky, probably the only horse that's really going to trouble him for the lead. And if that's the case, I think Royal can breeze, kick on straightening and be too strong. I think it's about as simple as we get on this one, and $1.75 is pretty good for me.
That's a very, very good push. Number 2 is Weld, trained by Lee Murray. Bailey Webster takes off 4 kilos.
Well, take nothing against any Lee Murray runner you're seeing at the moment. We just saw Protected Action go around and nearly win at $18, backed in from 34. But I think it would be a pretty impressive effort for Weld here. He's been well beaten this season so far up on the dirt, and he just hasn't been able to work into his races. He's been beaten some big margins. I'm not sure the step back to 1,200 metres is actually what he's looking for, and the wide gate is probably a bit of a blessing. Bailey can keep him wide, tracking into the field, and try and present on straightening.
Number 3, Shooting Kentucky, Tom Pike, Kiriul.
2 weeks ago, it was just an out-and-out match race between Shooting Kentucky and Simply Rosso. They went hard and fast. Simply Rosso went on to be able to win that by a length, and Shooting Kentucky was then beaten over 10 lengths after puncturing really badly. It was no surprise to see him improve off that effort last start. He was able to find the front again at that leader-friendly Roburn we've spoken about, but again, Simply Rosso just had his measure. He was able to punch up on the inside, which is pretty rare to see. Shooting Kentucky, she'll be out in front for a long way again. It's just a matter of if she can stay there.
Number 4, Talk About You, Lee Murray, Kate Pateman.
Has competed against Shooting Kentucky in both runs to date, Talk About You. Was able to beat him home at Port Hedland and then just couldn't reel it in at Roburn. I think he's going just as good as that galloper, and today, if he can use barrier 1 to his advantage, sit behind the speed, I think there's every chance he could run into this if they go out too hard and fast.
Number 6, Guard the Safe. So 5, Total Lockdown is a late scratching. So we move to 6, Guard the Safe. Peter Bamford, Shani Webster.
18 months ago, Guard the Safe was running in 66 plus races in the metro area. Not quite the Group 1s that you spoke about with Royal Zell there, but he was racing really competitively in WA. Last start, we saw him slow away and was never in the hunt at the Donga race meeting. Not sure what horse really turns up here today. This will be his first go over the dirt. Shani jumps on, takes 3 kilos off, and I think the further they go, the better for him. So I'll be really looking to see how he goes over the mile and see how he takes to the Northwest Racing Scene.
Number 7, Just Handy, Malcolm McKenzie and Jess Gray.
12 lengths and 14 lengths have been the beaten margin so far for her this campaign, and from the wide gate today, I just can't see her improving enough to trouble some of these more fancy runners.
Then the last runner here is number 8, Urban Warrior, Malcolm McKenzie, the new trainer, and Michael Higney.
New environment for this bloke, from the cool breezes of Albany to the cool breezes of Port Hedland he's gone to. He trialled at Geraldton 3 weeks ago. I thought it was nice enough, and I might say for that in a nice debut in the north. But for mine, he's just a real unknown. He's won at Pingrup, and he's also raced well at Collie. So it's led me to believe that he'll suit the style of racing that is on offer here today, and he's got a barrier to work with as well. He's probably going to go better the further they go, potentially up over the mile. But for mine, he's certainly a watch here today.
Just going back to Royal Zell there. Back in 2021, ran third in the Dulcify. The runner-up was Tiger of Malay, and then went to the Golden Rose at Rosehill Gardens. Winner in the Congo, runner-up Animo. Royal Zell was back in 10th. He's your $1.75 favourite here in the last. Looking at the marketplace, $1.60 he opened, got out to even money, back into $1.75. The next runner on the second line of betting is Shooting Kentucky. Probably the best backed runner late as well. $6 top quote into $3.80, $5.50 for Talk About You. Then we balloon out to $16 Guard the Safe and Urban Warrior, $20 for World and $41 for Just Handy. $1.75. Matt French is pushing us hard into Royal Zell in the last.
Yeah, more than happy to put Royal Zell on top here. They went hard and fast last start. Mega Reward came second in that, and they were able to come out and win next start. So the form will hold up out of that. It was a pretty slick time, I think. Royal Zell on top here for me. I think this is his race to win. I will say, Talk About You, though, the 4. Don't think there's much between him and Shooting Kentucky. And I do like the map for Talk About You here as well. And I can't take absolutely nothing away from a Lee Murray trained galloper at the moment at Port Hedland. 3 in Shooting Kentucky in for third. I think he'll be up on pace and leading for a long way. And then 6, Guard the Safe. Just brings something new to the area. Might need a run or two, though, and can run on into the placings here. 1, 4, 3 and 6. Think Rosie can control this from the breeze and be very hard to beat.
1, 4, 3 and 6. 1 Royal Zell on top for Matt French in the last, and he's a push. Thinks the $1.75 is a bet in the last at Port Hedland. These runners are behind the barriers. They'll shortly commence the loading process. Alex Vlahos, our race caller, his tips in the last are 1, 4, 3 and 2. So both the boys had the same Quinella. Royal Zell to beat Talk About You. 175 into 165 since Matt's given that big push about Royal Zell. Here is Alex Vlahos to call them home in the last at Port Hedland. 1, Royal Zell, is too strong for them in the last. It wasn't the easiest watch being 3 deep the trip there, Matt, but in the end he was too good for them. 1, 3, 7 across the line, and that number back in 4th will be a photo finish between Guard the Safe, who is trying to get home along the inside, and the outside of it looked to be Talk About You, that or the other way around, but either way we'll wait for that number in for 4th. But it's 1, 3, 7 and a photo after the last at Port Hedland. Anybody, Matt, that followed you in, took the $1.75 late, had to do it a little bit too tough out the 3 deep there, but was still brave at the finish there. I thought for a moment there, halfway up the straight, that Shooting Kentucky was going to really upset you for the rest of the night and fight back, but in the end it's a Tom Pike Quinella, and Rosie Marnie picks up a double there at Port Hedland.
Yeah, she was able to pick up the double, and like you said, 3 deep with no cover isn't exactly the best position to be in, but also up on the dirt racing, you also just want that free-flowing style as well. I won't lie, halfway up the straight I was with you. I did think Shooting Kentucky was punching back pretty well, but all credit to Tom Pike, who has got the Quinella in that last race there. It's been a really good day of racing in Port Hedland, and also in Kalgoorlie. We've had the double back-to-back. We've had 13 races here today. Hopefully we've been able to steer some people into some winners here today.
All right, I'll ask you for your highlight out of Kalgoorlie, but while you think about it, I'll go first. My highlight at Port Hedland, the return of Zadar Rock, 62 kilos, right down the outside. He looks very much on track for a tilt at all of those country cups. Port Hedland, Roban, he can go to Broome as well, where he ran 3rd last year. So I think that he's in for a really good season for Dean Cotravira. Highlight for you here at Kalgoorlie.
You've stolen my highlight at Port Hedland. That was definitely mine as well. 62 with Zadar Rock. That was going to go in the highlight reel. For me here at Kalgoorlie, I think it was sure thing to be able to lead and win just so comfortably in the open class grade. As you've mentioned, came over here as a maiden and has since just taken every step they've asked of him. And to be able to top that off here today, I thought that was pretty impressive.
Well, trainer Dave Smith is waiting at the Eagles game at Optus Stadium for them to take on Geelong. I spoke to Trent Brown earlier on. He said that he had a double running from Think Like a Winner all up into Geelong to cover the line. So obviously those two are going to cheer for very different results. Have a very good evening. Thanks for joining Matty French and I at Kalgoorlie and at Port Hedland here on Racing WA TV. Michael Heaton and Lockie Taylor will join you tomorrow at Northam for the WA Day Cup.